Princeton Drive, Utah.
Lost radio. Where did you advise that vehicle currently is?
It's in front of the Simon and Realty office there in the Town Drive Strip.
10-4, then your 10-17 advised for the 10-10, 10-12 walk off too.
That's negative. She did say that there were some other people that were still in the car.
Yeah.
You heard the ball. You're still here first. No breaks. No breaks.
Like doing this, but now it's the rent gone. You got
And I get 3 girls that you work.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, the thing about them, they're loud.
Yeah.
They're always aggressive.
Hello, Mr.
Like,
Boss.
they're always joking on something. They're always something. That's right. That's fine. Like, I'm heading out, just by the way, they're on the transport.
I left you in good hands right now. It was like, gotta get rid, I think it was Chris Lewis. Fun, I was about to message and I went. She's got a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, you're trying to leave.
They were out there.
Well, nothing funnier than a road go flying across the air.
Oh, yeah, pain is hilarious. Hey, mine. I went down for a nap. I left her going. Clearly too long to have left. Back of his heel on the road.
It is just hilarious.
She's been there.
Oh, yeah.
She knows.
Yeah, she's just, I know in her eyes, I can see that. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Sisterhood.
I was had a heart attack. Yesterday, he closed his brother's.
Oh, I had
the door. Thank God I didn't.
Better opportunity for one of y'all to trick me.
Knocking out that easy.
Sorry.
Fine dress man.
We do it.
Really needs some stuff to be approved.
We don't do that one item.
Hey, how y'all doing?
It never gets old. No, it doesn't.
It's a great year.
You're gonna be at the one using bikes.
Like a little rain there, man.
Figure out the asphalt.
For a break.
We're not doing any of that, actually, we're basically.
She didn't work there. That's what they started playing. Trying to go on the farm, just go get that done, they go down for fall workers' comp. Shit. Hey man, I need my go no. She's a junkie. It's pretty obvious you got tracks in this car.
I don't know, ours is too. Very happy.
I got still, well, I think you're pretty good. Yeah, I think we got it. But I'm.
Oh, that's the.
You just say. Things right here.
They have a lot of horsepower.
Probably does.
Double check.
Yeah, I think.
If it says anything that I'm screwed up.
Still not sure. Still have to figure out some.
I'll have to look at my PO.
Hey,
Hey, guys.
Tell Chief that. He said I was looking at it.
who's praying? Oh,
Real long.
good. This is the May the 22nd special meeting of the Elizabethtown City Council. Terry Ship will bring invocation,
Word
please.
prayer, please. Heavenly Father, thank you for the wonderful day today, all the opportunities that you've presented to us today, and thank you for our time together tonight. And of course, thank you for the way that you always seem to look after us and give us the things that we need and for the blessings that we have for this city. We ask a special prayer for those first responders and those that are in dangerous situations and put into harm's way each and every time that they go out, and the things that they do for the city and for the county. We pray that you'll be with them. As we begin our talks about budget tonight, we know that we are so truly blessed with resources here in town. So we are so thankful for that. We're thankful for the talent that we have and for the people that give so much to make E-Town such a wonderful place to live. We know that there are others in this community that are doing less than their best and experiencing tough times, and we just pray that you'll be with them as well. Help us to do things to reach out to them and to do Christ-like things that would make their lives better. Keep us safe until we come together again, and we ask all these things in your loving and holy name. Amen.
Amen. Join us in the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I am going to read the 2017-2018 budget message. So if any of you nod off, you will be elbowed, all
You
right?
gotta make it sound exciting, Mayor.
I will, up and down. In accordance with the authority granted by the city ordinance and state statutes, the mayor and the city staff have prepared the recommended budget for fiscal year 2017-2018 and hereby submitted to the city council members for their review and adoption. This proposed operating budget includes appropriations for expenditures totaling $62.5 million for the operation of general government, debt service, sewer and gas utilities, and the Tourism and Convention Bureau, and is slightly up from last year's budget of $59.9 million. When appropriations for capital construction projects are added in, the total budget grows to $73.4 million. We are proposing using reserves from the fund balance to finance several large stormwater drainage and road construction projects. We've made a concentrated effort to protect our reserves in previous years and now feel the need to utilize a portion of these reserves in order to accomplish projects which are greatly needed. In keeping with our continued commitment to address the city's stormwater drainage problems, this budget contains construction projects totaling $640,000 and outside engineering fees of $342,000. The largest stormwater project involves the completion of the Amanda Joe Drive Basin. We have appropriated $1.4 million for the widening of the Pear Orchard Road and Ring Road intersection. We also will continue to address several smaller projects with in-house resources, including Meadow Lane and Lehman Lane. The city's Planning and Development Department will continue to administer the HUD funds received due to Elizabethtown's designation as a metropolitan area. The city will continue its work towards improvements, including sidewalks and curbs in the Haycraft neighborhood area. These funds are designed for qualified public service agencies and community development needs to benefit persons of low and moderate incomes. In addition, $125,000 has been allocated for downtown redevelopment. These funds may be used for property acquisition, sidewalk improvements, or any other expenses that may arise in the enhancement of the heart of our town. The fire department budget contains adequate funding for operations in fiscal year 2017. Included in this year's budget is $440,000 to purchase a new pumper truck. The existing trucks are showing their age and are in various states of repair. This truck, along with an additional pumper truck to be purchased in fiscal year 2017, will provide assurance that when needed, the fire department's equipment will be ready to answer the call. Also included in the department's budget is the addition of 3 new firefighter positions. While the total budget for the department has increased, we feel the safety of our citizens is worth the added cost. The total budget for the fire department is $5.5 million, of which $3.5 million is provided by insurance premiums, tax revenues, and the balance comes from the general fund. The police department budget has been set at $6 million. Included is funding for the purchase of 4 patrol vehicles as part of the city's fleet replacement program. Also, we've included $83,000 to replace the camera system in the interview rooms and other areas of the station. We've appropriated funds for the addition of 3 new police officer positions, one of which will be the rank of lieutenant. The police department will continue its community-based programs, including DARE, the Citizens Police Academy, the Cadet Program, Trunk or Treat, Coffee with the Cop, and Teen Citizens Police Academy. The city will continue to administer the grant monies for the Greater Hardin County Narcotics Task Force and provide its share of the staff as called for by the interlocal agreement that established the unit. This is an extremely successful and vital program, and every effort will be made by the city to keep it in place in the future. Alcohol regulatory fees are projected to generate $915,000 in the upcoming year. These monies will be used to fund 8 existing police officer salaries and fringes, 1 new patrol car, and the operation of the city's ABC department. Additionally, these funds will be used for some of the community outreach efforts, including the DARE program, Spring Haven, and CASA. The police department expends more overtime involving joint efforts with state ABC investigators, as well as an increased emphasis in the areas of education, enforcement, and prosecution of any matters concerning alcohol abuse. We have proposed maintaining the existing rate of the regulatory fee at 4%. The Public Works Department plans to supplement its street paving program with $450,000 from the general fund. This funding, combined with monies allocated in the Municipal Aid Road Fund, will provide $1 million for resurfacing projects, salt purchases, and restriping next year. The Street Department has requested $140,000 for a new bulldozer and $64,000 for a forklift. Phase 1 of the new Public Works facility is nearing completion, and Phase 2 will begin this fiscal year. The funds for the construction of this facility will be provided by interfund borrowing with the Natural Gas Fund. These construction costs will be shared equally with the general fund and utility funds, as will the subsequent debt service cost. Generally accepted accounting standards dictate that room tax and restaurant tax revenues collected and turned over to the Tourism Bureau for disbursement be included in the general fund. Restaurant tax monies will be used for debt service on the Elizabethtown Sports Park bond issues. The City Council approved the issuance of $28.5 million in bonds for the project to be issued in a series of 3 separate series. The total annual debt service on the 3 bond issues is approximately $1.6 million. The Elizabethtown Tourism and Convention Bureau has also agreed to provide $100,000 to assist in the funding of the Special Events Department, including some of the associated costs necessary to put on events, including Cruise in the Heartland, the New Wine Festival, and others. Revenues from the restaurant tax and the room tax are projected to be approximately $3,650,000 and $650,000 respectively. The city's general fund will once again provide the appropriations for the operation of the sports park. It is now staffed with 10 full-time positions, 22 seasonal maintenance and support staff, and up to 50 part-time concession workers. In addition to providing the much-discussed economic impact to the local economy, it continues to provide job opportunities for our youth. All revenues generated by the sports park through sponsorships, concession sales, and rental fees are retained by the city. General fund monies are included in the Recreation Department for removal and replacement of the golf house at the American Legion Park, as well as a new shelter at Funtopia. $250,000 has been included for a park office, new restrooms building at Freeman Lake. The city's new water park opened with a resounding success in 2016. We expect its second season to be no different. It will be staffed by seasonal personnel of up to 32 people, including 20 lifeguards to protect the patrons of the park. Work continues on several large construction projects with funds provided by the Water and Sewer Construction Fund. These projects include Village Drive, Poplar Drive, and Hawkins Drive. Monies for lift station replacements and improvements totaling $320,000 have also been set aside. There is an additional appropriation for other sewer projects and stream crossing improvements totaling $660,000. These projects include the El Dorado Drive sewer replacement and Pierce Street rehab. Finally, the wastewater treatment plant will replace their internal water pumping system at a cost of $200,000. The Natural Gas Fund has budgeted $220,000 for capital improvements. The expenditures will include improvements to the Cecilia storage field and for various line extensions, including upgrades and new developments. The gas department has also requested funds for the purchase of a skid steer loader with brush and other attachments totaling $90,000, as well as the replacement of 2 vehicles which are at the end of their life. Rates will continue to be adjusted on a monthly basis, with the only monthly variable being the price of wellhead gas increases and decreases that will be passed on to end users based on our weighted average cost of gas rate methodology. This methodology has 2 components, one being the cost of gas and another being a flat rate that is added to each MCF of consumption. A 3% wage increase for all full-time city employees has been requested. The mayor and council will also receive a 1.5% increase based upon the CPI as provided by ordinance. Funding for our employees' self-funded health care plan continues to be a challenge. With the addition of USI as our insurance broker, we hope to now be proactive in monitoring our health care costs and be able to reduce costs through education and rewarding our employees for maintaining a healthier lifestyle through nutrition and exercise. No change in the employee contribution for self or family coverage was included in this year's budget. The mayor's contingency fund of $400,000, hopefully, will be more than adequate to meet any unforeseen expenditures that arise. As in recent years, we feel that this is another ambitious budget with major projects in almost every discipline of city services. From recreation to stormwater to sewer projects, no area will go untouched. With the addition of the new firefighter and police officer positions, we're hoping to show our citizens that public safety is one of our top priorities. The city is extremely fortunate in that it has a strong financial base and a strong local economy, which enables us to continue to provide all the amenities of a first-class community to all of our citizens and visitors.
Wow, you did a great job.
Gosh, thank you very much. Now I would like a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Okay, now welcome to the city council work session. First up, we're going to talk about fireworks. Yeah, you want to talk about fireworks?
I'd be happy to.
Great.
Mayor, you, of course, in the council had asked for some additional information regarding fireworks and what other communities were doing in terms of restricting their usage. And Mary and I worked on this and created this memo, which hopefully you haven't had a chance to review, which, as you know, our ordinance says that no person shall ignite fireworks between the hours of 11 p.m. and 8 a.m. There are two Kentucky revised statutes that address the use of these fireworks and which address some of the concerns you had. One is that anybody using the fireworks must be at least 18. Another is that they're not supposed to set them off within 200 feet of a structure, a person, or a motor vehicle. So that is in our Kentucky revised statute. So then Mary checked with some other cities, and we have, if you have seen that, you have cities such as the city of Hopkinsville and Bowling Green that don't allow any use of fireworks other than around the dates of the 4th of July and the end of the year. But that at other times you can display fireworks if you have obtained a permit from the chief of the fire department. And then you have cities like Richmond and Owensboro that restrict the hours all year long, similar to what we do, but then expand the hours at around those holiday periods. And then I had asked her to check with Radcliffe too, and I think Radcliffe doesn't have any further restrictions as far as we understand. So those are kind of.
What's the latest hours of those towns about our size?
12:30
12:30.
a.m. Right, and that the latest, yeah.
Mayor, I'm going to throw this out for discussion. I think I might have been the one that raised the question to begin with. I'm going to throw this out for discussion. I think we've talked informally amongst ourselves. I'm in favor of limiting throughout the year the number of times that we approve fireworks, and specifically for starting, I would say the 4th of July, Memorial Day, Labor Day, and New Year's. Those four would be the four that fireworks would be in accordance with state law. I would say that the hours should be between 10:30, I think Hopkinsville said, and 12:30, that those would be the hour.
We're going to go to 12:30 instead of 11 p.m.
Because we stop at 11.
We stop
I
at
mean,
11.
Yes,
You want to stop at
11, yes, stop at 11, right.
All right.
Other than those four events that I gave, I would say that the city, such as city festivals and special events or concerts, could add those, and that other individual groups, churches, organizations could notify the fire department for approval for any time that they wanted to, and that would be approved by the fire department. Just for discussion, I would.
All right, let me ask you a question. Okay, let's say I have a nonprofit organization and I want to have a big woo-hoo,
All right.
and I contact you for approval. Now, do you run it? Do you let us know that's going to happen? Do you let the police chief know that's going to be happening, or?
Or would you, right?
Yeah, well, it depends on what level of fireworks they're setting off. If it's consumer level fireworks, normally we go out and just make sure that everything's safe and tell them to, just be careful. But now if it gets into commercial fireworks where you're into the larger amounts, then you have to get you have to send all that through the state, get the state fire marshal's approval to come back, and then we always make that notification. But I think that distinction needs to be in there between consumer fireworks and commercial.
And I would agree with that, yeah. And either, under what I threw out for discussion, those four things, Memorial, Labor, 4th of July, and New Year's, may or may not be commercial. If the city did it, I assume it would be of a commercial nature.
In neighborhoods, sometimes neighbors get together and they have pretty good sized firework activities. Those are still, they're not commercial.
No, they're consumer fireworks.
They're consumer fireworks. It's just they have more of them.
Yes.
So, they go for an hour instead of 30 minutes or whatever. So
Although,
they don't
Terry-
need any kind of special.
Terry, I would point out seriously and jokingly too, that some of them should be commercial that are done in the neighborhood.
Fireworks have gotten better over the
Yeah,
years.
they have gotten tremendous.
Yeah, they really have.
Chief, the other issue is, in the KRS about igniting these 200 feet from any structure or vehicle. And as you know, many of our neighborhoods in E-Town being older neighborhoods, they're all within 200 feet of each other.
Yes.
So I'd like some feedback on that from you or from the other council members, because, I've gotten complaints about that before, that, they're landing on the house, on the car, and I think we talked about some property was damaged at one point in time. So that's going to be tough to enforce. But could we get to the point where, even though it's tough to enforce, if a neighbor calls, that you guys come and enforce that KRS? Would that be a possibility? And I'd like some feedback from the other.
And I'm Bill, in response to that, I would say it would be much easier for them to respond under what I threw out for proposal rather than right now, which is
Right.
any time of the year.
We normally get a phone call if somebody complains, and we'll go out and check. But by the time we get there and check,
It's done.
it's done. It's over, and they're in between setting things off, or they stop to get something to drink or whatever. And we don't, the few times that we've called or we've received a call and actually went on the complaint, it's usually nothing. We don't find anything. I'm not sure about the police department side.
About the same. Yeah, if we get there, we have to catch the
I
fire.
think
It's
it
tough to
comes back
enforce.
to,
Yeah.
And
to the people themselves filing the formal complaint, which usually they don't want to file against their neighbor.
That would be the reason.
So they call, if we gave a catch them, which by the time we get there, they're done.
But Chief, wouldn't you agree that if we limited to 3 or 4 or 5 times during the year, that it would be easier to enforce, where they're shot and this kind of thing, as opposed to just being wide open?
I think that if we were restricted to certain times of the year, then I think that certainly gives people some clarity as what it is. Now, of course, that means whenever they're shot off in any of the common example,
Right.
So I would think it would all really be dependent on compliance. Probably might take a year for them to get.
To get accustomed to it.
I think too, something might help on those 4 times that you mentioned. Maybe the fire department put out just a public service announcement that it's that time of year again. And probably the number one thing for everybody to remember is all firework displays are temporary. I mean, whether they're 10 minutes or 15 or 20, it's still a temporary thing. It's not an ongoing daily thing. So like in my neighborhood last year, we had fireworks every place. So I sat on my front porch as long as I could just to make sure none landed on my roof. But it got so smoky you couldn't even stay outside.
Take care of the
But
mosquitoes.
the thing you got to tell yourself is it'll all be over in just a few minutes.
We have actually taken some steps towards that. We're working on a flyer that we're going to try to give out to the salespeople and ask them to put them in with
That'd be
the
a good idea.
packages that they
Yeah.
sell to people to get that information out. We've got to put it on Facebook and things like that to get the information out as best we can. I think that's the easiest way, to get the enforcement is knowledge.
And
And
Jerry,
that's
like you
very,
said-
very good brochure. Right.
Like you said, Jerry, I think more and more neighborhoods now obviously are having their, which I think they ought to enjoy those kind of things. And when the KRS laws changed, obviously you can look around and see the number of vendors we've got coming in and selling. So, I don't think we want to curtail that.
Right.
And Ron, when you say 4 times a year, you're speaking of the day and the evening, not a couple of days
Right.
before and
No.
after. Well, I like that
Yeah.
idea.
No,
I do.
that's-
I could
Well,
go
you've
with
got to
that.
remember though, you need to extend a little time past the holiday.
Exactly.
Like, maybe it's
They're gonna
2
shoot 'em
weeks
up
or
on
whatever.
July 4th.
Because they're gonna shoot them, and also, what if it's pouring down rain on 4th of July? Then they're
Right.
gonna do it the following weekend.
Yeah,
You know.
I know Hopkinsville, and I just threw that out. Hopkinsville, when they, 4th of July, they said between July 1 and July 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they gave that. So maybe if we were in agreement on that, Mayor, then the city council or the city attorney and Mary could draft something along.
Give it a 2-day ahead, 2-day after type.
Well, I think you have to go a little bit longer than that after, because,
Plus or minus 2 days.
because you may have to go to the next weekend, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right, depending on where the holiday falls.
Right.
I agree.
And when you finish that brochure, would you send them all a copy? Because it's very good, very good information. Hey, that, everything about fireworks.
But did we decide on the time? Did somebody say 12:30?
11.
No.
11.
11 is what I said.
Even on the holidays, they're saying. is that
That's what I said.
Okay. All right.
Because that's what it is now, 11
Right.
o'clock.
It is now.
Yeah.
That is now.
Okay, so we are going to restrict the days to, you said, a couple of days before each holiday, but then like a week or more
2
after.
days before.
What do you do on
2
New
days
Year's?
after.
Yeah.
11
Yeah.
o'clock doesn't mean much on New Year's.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Party's just getting started, and,
Yeah,
I
right.
mean, you know.
Oh, we can draft something and then you all can tinker around with it, you know,
Okay.
so. We'll get you something in your packets
Okay.
for next week and you can talk about it again.
Charlie's thinking of something.
Yeah. Oh, it's not Monday, no, Monday will be here.
Right.
Monday, so, I mean, it's a holiday, so the next one, okay.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay?
Mhm.
While we're on the subject of fireworks, before we go to the next one, Sarah, can I ask you a question? Do you know, we were talking earlier, do you know the times of the World War II reenactments Saturday? Thank you, really appreciate it. Scott, while she's getting that, you want to talk about architects, fireworks and architects?
Fireworks and architects. Placed in front of you all 2 proposals from, the first one's from Icon Engineering, second one's from CMW for the Phase 2, the Operations Center down at Public Works. That's in next year's budget. Just wanted to bring them to you all and see what you thought of either one of those proposals, or go get another one. Or CMW designed the building that we hope to be moving into shortly. And Icon, of course, is our local group, but their architect for Icon is out of Louisville. That's JRA out of Louisville. So just wanted to bring them in front of you all, see if you had any questions, which way you want us to go. Or if
Since
you
we
need
have
more.
not had a chance to read them.
Right.
Can you give us a brief
Yes, I can.
summary of these, please?
They're both based on approximately 18,000 square foot building is what we're looking at down there. About 360 feet by 50 feet. About 15,000 of that's going to be shop space, and then 3,000 is going to be break room, bathrooms, that kind of things, shower rooms that we need for down there. I've asked both of them to go through bidding, not to include construction administration. It's what we did on the last project for Public Works, and it seemed to work out very well. I think we have some savings that we can get through that, knowing exactly what the time frame is. Icon's proposed fee is $161,200, and CMW's is, sorry, there you go, $129,850. I thought it was on page 2, but it's on page 1. So. So just wanted to bring it in front of you all. Probably be trying to bring it to you June 5th for approval. Is that the next meeting? Yes, sir.
A little more into the history and why you just have these.
Okay. When we looked at the master plan for Public Works, we got down between CMW and Icon. We chose CMW for the master plan work, but also the administration building. At that time, Icon had an architect, and we had said that we would allow them to have the second building, which would be this next phase. At that time, when they had their own architect, they have since gotten out of the architectural side of the world, just do structural, mechanical, and electrical, plumbing. So at first we just asked Icon for a number, but then we felt just to check that number, we had asked CMW as well, because like I said, they are doing the admin building right now. So they have the master plan. The master plan work's done for this. It's a pretty simple process for us.
You mean CMW does?
Yes, sir.
I guess the only question I'd have after that explanation was, is Icon, do they feel like they're expecting to do this? I mean, was there?
I mean, I don't think we've ever sat down and said, you are definitely going to get this project. No, sir.
Oh, I thought you said something like, you said they could have the second.
What we talked about internally. Right. Right. Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We talked, yeah, to get that local connection into that facility. And we felt that because they are structural engineers, that's their primary focus. The second building is going to be more structural engineering than it is architectural, because it's pre-engineered metal building. So we felt it fit into their scope of work a whole lot better at that time. Again, that was when we were deciding on the architect for the admin building.
Their cost proposal changed.
Yes, sir, it did. I'm sorry. Yeah, their cost proposal went from 4.8% to 5.2%. And I think a lot of that has to do with having to go outside architect. Yes.
Scott,
Yes, sir.
I'm reading here with CMW, number 5, contract administrative services are not included in our fee.
That is correct.
Is Icon including that?
No, sir, they are not. If you look at the third page, at the top under their proposal fee summary, they have CA services are not included in the proposed fee. That'd be construction administration.
Is that because we'll oversee the construction?
Well, it's twofold. One is because we do have a strong connection with our buildings and overseeing construction. But the process we used on the building that's being built right now is we got the proposals up through bidding, and then we did the construction administration on a not to exceed number, so that if we need their help, we have their help. But if we feel there's certain items we can take care of, then we just do that internally. So instead of getting a 5.2% of the construction administration cost too, I feel it's better to get that number afterwards, after we know how long the building's approximately how long it's gonna take to build. But also we can do a not to exceed and lower that cost as much as we can. The contract we signed on the building being built right now was a not to exceed, and we're gonna be well below that number.
So Scott, what would be and you might have said it and I was too busy reading or thinking, trying to absorb all this. What would be the advantage of using Icon over CMW? I mean, there's, clearly a large price difference there.
There is. Icon is here in town. There's no more.
Yeah, I heard you say that.
We always like local folks on our projects as much as we can get them. Icon is more of a structural firm than they are architectural. CMW is more of an architectural firm. And this type of building lends itself more to a structural engineer than it does an architect. But I'm not saying one way or the other. They're both good groups. So we wouldn't ask them for numbers if they weren't good groups.
That it?
That's it.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Scott. Got it? I just got that, and I know we're not televised, but you do have members of the press, and they might want to remind everybody about this weekend. Yeah, right. But they may want to talk about this weekend. Okay, that's great. All morning, 9, 10, 11:30, and then 1, and then 3 o'clock, the second battle. So that's great.
Was it last year or the year before last when they were?
They did it last year, and they did it year before last vote.
It was last year that we were out there. I saw you out there last year. I thought it was
I thought it was pretty nice last year.
It is.
Wonderful. And it gets better, bigger and better.
I'm amazed because Chapel Vance does all this and doesn't ask for.
Never
He
asked
asks
for
us
a
to use the facility and that is it. He
That
doesn't
is-
ask for money. He takes care of this, he organizes it, and it's quality event, top notch.
Absolutely.
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 Wonderful.
I thought we used that more.
Yeah, and you want to say anything about downtown, what's happening Saturday, or just, you all know everything you need to know about Okay, all right. You don't want to hear any more about it? Okay, good, all
What
right.
about free
You don't
booze,
know to
y'all?
come down?
What about free booze? You know that.
Okay, I understand you had something you wanted to talk about?
I do, Mayor. This occurred about a month ago and it got me thinking, and sometimes that's dangerous, and I talked to Charlie about it. But we had a
It's
situation where.
dangerous too.
Yeah. Well, we've got our meter replacement program going on, and a situation occurred where the gas company was going to replace a meter, and they couldn't finish the project because the ascending pipe coming up to the meter was corroded. And talking to some of the department heads, that tends to be quite often because it's closer to the surface. You've got water trickling down from the soil, and you've got salts and whatnot that lend to corrosion. Well, they had to stop the project. And of course, the person they were working for there, at his home, he could afford to have it replaced. But then again, he has to hire a plumber to come and replace those pipes. And the city has to wait until that project's done, and then they can replace the meter. So my question to Charlie is that, what happens when we come to a situation where we've got an elderly person living there or somebody below the poverty line? They can't afford to hire that plumber to come and replace those ascending pipes. And even worse, they might have to replace the pipe that runs the city's gas main line. That's about, as Charlie, you said, 24 inches under the ground. Usually that might not corrode, but there would be cases where it could. So the question arose, well, these people that can't afford it, how can we establish a policy that gets the job done and they can pay back the cost over a longer period of time? And Charlie brought up the assistance policy we have for the sanitary sewer and stormwater drainage. And I'm wanting to ask the council if we can go ahead and propose the same policy, that when we get in that situation and somebody can't afford to replace those pipes, those ascending pipes especially, that, we go ahead and replace it or contract somebody to replace it. And then, of course, that individual or individuals can repay the city over a period of time through their billing service.
But we
And that-
already have that in effect, right? All they have to do is ask, and
Not for gas.
Not for
Oh,
gas,
okay.
sanitary sewer and stormwater.
have you
we
had
do.
anybody ask?
How many times is it a regular occurrence? Is it a problem?
I've pulled numbers from this year's same report last year. Now, roughly 8,500 customers. We had 40 weeks of record that placement of some kind. So that's about 5%. This year, we had 31 out of 85. So that's like 0.1%.
And of those, none of them said, I can't afford to do this.
You have some people that, well, I shouldn't have to pay for this.
Right.
But that goes back to, it's on private property, it's privately owned,
Sure.
and the city made the decision years ago. But that's how they wanted it to be set up, was that this is a homeowner function, not a city function. And that line has been drawn in the sand for years, and it's a problem.
Sure.
And how long has your, when you come to that situation, how long is that, what's the timeline of where that meter's held up being replaced until they get a plumber out?
Well, we're under no requirement to change it. Period. That's something we elected because we thought it was the best practice. So we change each meter out every 15 years. So if we delay that process by a few months, it's not really going to affect our normal operations. We usually start with change outs April, May, when it's guess if you were delaying for an individual that didn't want to fix something, worst case scenario, it might push you into the fall. So we're sitting there waiting on that individual. They're gonna have their gas shut off until they can.
Well, do you think it's fair to say that, you know, people don't come to you and say, hey, we can't afford this because they might be embarrassed or, you know, if we had a program, they might not, know that until we let them know. And if that makes sense. So,
I don't think it would hurt anything to have a program like that. I don't know how much it would advise. Having that program on.
Right. I think it'd just be, it'd be helpful for the residents, the ones that can't afford it. And I hope that it is a low frequency, but certainly for the,
What ends up happening on the gas side, we shut them off. If we shut them off this time of year, we won't hear from them again until it gets cold.
right, till it gets cold, right.
That's what usually
Yeah.
goes. I mean, Jeff sees the non-paying bills. They'll stop paying in springtime when it warms up, and they'll come running in and fall.
Catch up.
I just think it would be nice to have, just in case we have certain individuals that can't afford it, and it wouldn't be an issue for them in the winter. And plus, we really don't want residents, even though you don't have to replace the meter, when you get digging around there and you find out that the pipe is leaking, we don't want residents to have leaky pipes, whether we replace the meter or
Well,
not.
I think if they have leaky pipes, we're gonna turn the gas off from a safety standpoint. We're not gonna let.
Yeah, but remember, they've still got to replace it. They're gonna have to pay for it. Like I said, some people can't pay for it. So I would like to have this program just for those situations where people can't afford it. They can pay the city back over a certain period of time. I just think it's a good thing to do.
Residents have never had an issue about coming into the gas office or when it was the water office, when they couldn't pay their bill and telling us they couldn't pay their bill. I think they've always communicated that with us. To have none have said, based on your knowledge, Matthew, that they've had issues with paying for that.
We will do whatever you all
Sure.
want us to.
Matt, let me just ask right now, if it happened to me at my house and I came in and said, I can't pay it.
We'd pay for him, wouldn't we?
I cover you, Thomas.
That'd be good. I can't pay it, man. No, I'm just curious, what would we do? I mean, what would you do, Nick?
Go fund it.
During certain
Go
times,
fund
during
the account.
certain times of the year, we're not going to shut you off.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So in the middle of the winter, it
Okay.
doesn't matter if you can pay, we're not shutting you off.
Okay.
Now, once you get into springtime and it's warm enough, then we can come out there and shut you off. Now, obviously, if you had damage to your system, you've got a leak, being put property or person
At risk.
at risk, then we can shut you off immediately. No questions asked, notification, we'll just shut you off. After that, there's different triggers for when you shut them off, when you don't shut them off, when telephonic notification versus written notifications.
Well, I guess what I'm getting at is what, along the lines of Marty, would we not work with an individual if they came in and, I don't know, but
We always have.
we have.
We always
Right.
have.
In a bad enough emergency where you have a car that comes and puts off a meter within the middle of the night, usually whether it's our policy or not, if it's freezing, we put them back together, we put back up and
Right.
run right then and there. Now, if it was a summer night, we would probably shut things down and get it safe. This is our alarm.
But there is a difference between helping by either leaving gas on and helping by, let's say,
Giving somebody
loaning
interest-free
money to
loan.
make repairs. The difference is because the city requires the individual to hire a plumber themselves to make the repair. So that, the plumber's not going to, most of them aren't going to finance you.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's good.
But, I mean, property owners, this is something they face every day.
Yeah.
You face maintenance issues with property you own, every day. So, or every week or every month, this is not something that should, how big of a job is it to replace that?
Depends on what you're replacing. If you're replacing the whole time,
Sure.
You know, the only concern I've heard from was a landlord. You know, I haven't heard.
Yes, and,
Someone that lived in a house complaining, I can't afford this.
and Mayor, we talked about that.
Yeah,
We
you had
did.
it from a
We did.
landlord.
Yeah. Okay.
It just, it,
Most of the money requests we get have to do with after-hour service. Because they don't realize that we have after-hour service, and they'll call an HVAC person, and they'll come out, of course, they're gonna charge them a service call. Well, if they had called us first, we would dispatch a 24-hour service, and they came out there free of charge, and then checked out what you had, and helped you out. We don't charge for that service because it's already paid rates. And then they'll wait till the next day and they'll want us to pay that service fee that they had to pay to the HVAC or to the plumber. We wouldn't charge, so they want us to pay for it because they know they should have called us and charged.
but still, it, I mean, the whole thing we're talking about, that if you had 31 instances out of 850, I mean, it doesn't, I mean, yeah, 8,500, it, I mean, it just doesn't seem like to me it's a problem.
Well, let me ask you this. How often is the assistance policy for the sanitary sewer and storm water drainage used? Yeah, and that's been out of how many? That you-
Is that 8,500, Jeff? 14,000.
14,000. So it doesn't seem
So,
like a.
so that's not a whole lot, but we still got the assistance program for that. So,
Well, in that case, we brought that up because before we started doing some of the drainage projects that we did, we were having a lot more of issues there. And that was a stopgap until we got to the part of solving the problem on a permanent
We
basis.
started putting in the backflow banners. That was just part of it.
Yeah,
That was what,
yeah.
well, ultimately,
Especially
it's, you know, the majority of the council, what they want to do. I just think it would be nice for our elderly and the people that live in poverty that they have a, you know, a way to pay for this if they don't, and they can pay it over a certain amount of time. And, but, you know, like I say, it is a majority opinion here.
If you want us to work on a policy, be more than happy to start putting stuff together.
I'm not really in favor of it. I think it's, I don't think it's a problem. If I thought it was a problem, I'd certainly be in favor of it. I
And we
think
can
it's a-
deal with it on a one-on-one, one.
Sure, and I think
As
it's
this
a-
arises,
And I think it could be
Deal
a
with it.
slippery slope to start. Give,
plans to attend Wake Freeze Avenue Road on the Revolutionary Jeffersonville. Here's that forecast.
Maybe we get a policy
Forecast,
that
forecast.
his phone gets silenced.
every time I turn it off, it actually comes back on. But I think we can deal with it on a case-by-case basis, and I just think that you start down a slippery slope when you start giving interest-free loans to families for property
Well, as
maintenance.
long as we'll work with them one-on-one.
You know, I think it's fine. And I don't think we're gonna leave anybody in the cold in the wintertime and turn their gas off or anything like that.
We have a policy, Mayor, where we turn our cell phones off
you know, I
before.
was just thinking, do you all remember when cell phones
actually on.
first became popular and Ron Thomas got one? Every city council meeting it would ring and he was. Do you
And
remember that?
I've still got that phone. I've still got it. Charlie and I've got that flip.
Calling you as much.
I know.
Yeah, that's right.
The women have gone
But he
away.
was
Gone away.
young
They died. Charlie and I still have the flip phones.
Okay, anything else? Thank you all very much. And thank you all for bearing with us and listening to the message.
Way to go.
The message.
Yeah, the mayor brought my phone.
I lost, I don't know. I got a flip phone.
I got a flip phone.
Oh, he got
You-
it.
All right, so I'm gonna send something wrong to you.
Yeah.
Get him to send you the.
Zach Brown. Yes.
And send it to you too? Okay. I didn't know which, if you're.
Charlie, believe it or not.
Let's do it. Let's do it. That's all.